Good evening, and thank you for joining us at your historic Plaza Theatre. This is the story of the Plaza Theatre and Miamisburg's shared revival. In the early 2000s, Miamisburg was yearning to return to its former glory as a welcoming, walkable, thriving small town. As businesses returned, it became obvious that an entertainment venue would be a draw to residents and visitors alike. A brave group of 7 volunteers took on the Herculean task of resurrecting the theater to its former glory. Beginning with $600 in donations and an extraordinary 30-year lease agreement, this diverse group of business people, architects, construction experts, and hard-working enthusiasts galvanized the town to raise over $400,000 and complete construction within a single year. Since then, the theater has continued to modernize its interior and exterior while growing its offerings. Not only showing new and classic movies, it serves as a public gathering place, an event space, and a place for celebrations. The restaurants, coffee, ice cream shops, and the many other retail businesses in Miamisburg continue to flourish as the theater attracts people from far and wide.
Tom and Dodge Gelato Shop would like to thank the Plaza for the amazing programming they offer, which has increased the foot traffic downtown and increased business for all.
The Plaza Theatre is a symbol of the amazing comeback the city of Miamisburg has had since its ghost town days in the late 70s.
The Plaza Theatre's vibrant presence downtown has positively impacted our business by being a main attraction and drawing a diverse group of folks from Miamisburg as well as out-of-towners.
We love having the Plaza as our neighbor as it brings tons of families and new customers to our store. Besides, who doesn't love sneaking candy into a movie theater?
M & Company is so happy to be neighbors with the Plaza. We love our little town and hope you visit the shops and restaurants while here. Date night or a family outing, Miamisburg has something for everyone. Enjoy the show.
The historic Plaza Theatre, the heart of downtown Miamisburg, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. The proceeding will be used as part of our grant and foundation requests going forward. I'm very hopeful this will resonate with many, but that's not why we are here this evening. We won't ask for a cent tonight. This is about thanking you and sharing a journey of our shared adventure from pipe dream to now. This is not the first movie theater in Miamisburg. It's number 3. The first, dating to the 1890s, was one door south in a frame structure that is now estates to go. Theater number 2 was owned by the Theater brothers farther north on Main Street beyond Ron's and called the Grand Theater. The Plaza Theater was built on this site and opened by those same Weaver brothers on Christmas Day, 1919. In 1832, a tavern existed on this site and was the location of Miamisburg's first ever elections, hopefully before they started drinking. In the later 1800s, this was the location of the Washington House, but I'm sure George never slept there. In 1956, the first enclosed shopping mall opened in Minneapolis. Like wildfire, this concept raced across America. In 1969, the DeBartolo family announced construction of the Dayton Mall. Opened in 1970, this was a death knell for many small downtowns like Miamisburg. By then, the Plaza had closed their doors, showing the last film in 1968. On November 1st, 1969, this building became my family's retail store, renamed Sorrell's, relocating from Ron's current location. Seats and all remnants of the theater were removed. Where this original sloped floor now exists, a new slab floor was installed over pea gravel. Over the years, 3 mezzanines were built to create additional sales space and eventually expanded into the spaces now occupied by 3 Dips and Chapman Financial Services. During these years, pre-Berg Renaissance, a handful of successful family businesses kept our burg from total disarray. Jack Summers Tires, Star City Hardware, Sutman's, Philhauer's, Our Store, Poff Jewelers, Peerless Mill Inn, Freedom Foods after Liberal Markets left, all with loyal regional customer bases. None of these businesses exist today. As local retailers retired, sold out, moved away, or simply closed their doors, a group of brave restaurant entrepreneurs took a leap of faith and began transforming our downtown from a retail to a dining destination. Ron's, TJ Chumps, Bullwinkle's, Bennett's, new ownership twice of our venerable hamburger wagon, 2 brew pubs, and others. During this period, a visionary started buying buildings and maintaining them in hopes of the burg's rebirth. It was Joe Harrison. The Harrison family deserve our huge thanks. For years, our 7-term mayor, the late Dick Church Jr., hoped some group would undertake restoring and reopening the now shuttered Plaza Theatre. The first attempt failed miserably, leaving Joe with an empty shell, removed mezzanines, and this sloped floor. Maybe somebody would open an indoor pay lake. Hopes and dreams were answered because of term limits off our Miamisburg Merchants Association board. Those term-limited, civic-minded souls were Bonnie Nolan, Clint Morton, and Jim Dunn. They began meeting in Bonnie's wine shop to discuss needed downtown projects they could focus on resolving. They were joined by city staffers Chris Fine and Katie Frank. Some months later, I joined this committee, invited by Chris Fine. I invited my friends, David Sweeney, an architect, and local businessman Andy Chance, proprietor of Canopy Creek Banquet Center. It seemed appropriate that Joe Harrison suggest a member. Joe designated his daughter, Kelly Williams. The Dayton Daily ran an article about this committee's dream of resurrecting the Plaza Theatre. The story was forwarded by Mark Morgan to Jack Berkmeyer in upstate New York. Jack had been an instructor to Mark during their years at Ohio University. Jack was a Dayton native with decades of experience and knowledge of the film industry and movie house operations with contacts across America. Jack sent me an email February 9th, 2015. I was smart enough to answer Jack. Jack drove to our next board meeting at the wine shop. Jack was a godsend. He had forgotten more about this project than all of us knew combined. In the past, Jack had overseen the reconstruction and reopening of the Athena Theater in Athens for Ohio University. Jack was looking to return to his family in the Dayton area. The Plaza project was his excuse. Our 10-person committee was complete. As an aside, Mark and Karen Morgan have created over 600 trailers for the Plaza since we opened, pro bono, including this on-screen accompaniment. Thank you both. Oh, briefly, we had an 11th volunteer from Dayton who insisted he saved the Victoria Theater. After a spirited 15-minute discussion with him about the proper usage of theater ending in T-E-R or T-R-E, he insisted we must use T-E-R. I invited him to donate his considerable skills and knowledge elsewhere. Some months later, I discovered an actual Plaza Theater flyer and discovered the Weaver brothers used the spelling T-R-E just like we do. Good enough for them, fine with us. We never realized this was the original spelling. Sometimes dumb luck is a blessing, and we had plenty of that and dedication to the cause. The right people at the right time with the right skills. In December 2014, we had 2 donors and $600. And neither of those donors were Miamisburg residents. We'd been meeting in Bonnie's wine shop for about 10 months. When I tell you we were pretty clueless about this project and process, I'm not exaggerating. 12 months later, on December 25th, 2015, the 96th anniversary of the original Plaza Theater opening, we reopened, having raised $432,000 from under 50 private donors. We were able to accomplish this task in part because we didn't commission any months-long studies. We ignored experts from local universities who deemed our idea impossible and made it up as we went along. In that heady moment of reopening, here are some thoughts from those involved.
Construction supervisor, so to speak, construction coordinator, and my job specifically will be to deal with all of the individual contractors and vendors who will be responsible for outfitting the restoration of the theater.
My name is Katie Frank, and my role at the Plaza Theater, it really probably began a couple years ago or so, a few years ago, when we were looking at downtown and just trying to figure out the main holes or the pieces of downtown that needed to come back to life that would really have a huge impact on the vibrancy of downtown.
My name's Andy Chance, and I'm on the committee to reopen the Plaza Theater. I just find it fantastic that Miamisburg downtown has gone through a rebirth in the last 5 to 10 years, and I think this theater is just going to be part of that rebirth.
Can we edit this? Are we? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. My name is David Sweeney. I'm the owner of DPS Architects, a local firm in Miamisburg, and we are the architects for the renovation project. I have a passion for historical architecture.
I am Bonnie Nolan, and I am one of the board members for the Plaza Theatre. I think it was something that was missing to bring people back downtown, give them something to do, visit the restaurants, go grab a drink somewhere, ice cream, come and enjoy a movie, something that the kids can be doing with them as well.
My name's Jim Dunham, one of the co-owners of TJ Chumps. We opened up our restaurant over 13 years ago now, and we opened up a restaurant in a downtown that was deteriorating. A lot of the storefronts were closed, and Terry and I, my partner, were residents of Miamisburg, and we decided that we would wanted to open up a restaurant and try to help revitalize the downtown.
I'm Clint Morton with Farmers and Merchants Bank. We see this project as being one of the vital, pivotal pieces to keeping downtown moving in the right direction.
My name is Chris Fine. I work for the City of Miamisburg. I'm the Development Director, and I have been working with the Plaza Theatre Association. I kind of serve as the liaison between the Plaza Theatre Association and Downtown Miamisburg, Inc.
Well, baby, sister, it's good of you to undertake doing this documentary, and it's good to be in movies again. I asked for that to not be included, so you know. We would never have been able to create this fabulous facility without the assistance of most of you in this auditorium, the Joe Harrison Auditorium. When we undertook this project, Joe gave us access and full use of the building at no cost. With his attorney, Tom Krosky, and because of IRS rules, we were able to negotiate a required 30-year lease and assure the tax deductibility of our donors. Without Joe's unwavering support, this would never have happened. How could it? Joe owned this building. Everyone on the board was employing their skill sets. We were becoming an actual recognized legal entity. First came recognition by the state of Ohio, then our 501c3 nonprofit status. This was completed through the work of Chris Fine, Katie Frank, and City Law Director, Attorney Phil Callahan. David Sweeney, Jack Burkmeyer, and Mitch Wheeler were drawing plans, finding equipment, seats, a screen, our used sound system, and a million other details. Clint Morton was working with Downtown Miamisburg, Inc., Farmers and Merchants Bank, and the city to arrange our construction financing. Andy Chance was reaching out to our schools. Bonnie Nolan and Jim Dunn were cheerleading our project to the local merchants and clubs. Kelly kept her father, Joe, apprised of our progress. I was asked to be a spokesperson and raise funds. I developed payment options, funding levels, sidewalk stars, the sportsman's raffle, etc. My original goal was $250,000. Chris Fine kept telling me that wasn't enough. Honestly, I didn't believe we could raise that much. That this community donated over $400,000 still staggers me. I thought, we are the Star City. Why not have stars in the sidewalk? I dreamed up $25,000 or $10,000 stars, payable lump sum or spread over 5 equal payments, totally tax deductible. I've sold stuff my entire life, and I've learned you're going to get far more no thanks than sure, I'd love to do this. I went out to practice on my friends who live outside Miamisburg. Bob Mills and his family foundation gave me $25,000. Terry Huber wrote me a check for $10,000. 84 Lumber gave us the best quote on prices for needed construction materials and a $10,000 credit against our purchases. I auctioned many trips over the years to the 5-star Nemacolin Resort owned by 84 Lumber. I knew this corporation was generous. Jim Dunn and Terry Brill, co-owners of TJ Chumps, came on board for $25,000. The Merchants Association gave us $25,000. Our local Rotary Club, founded in 1922, donated the largest sum in their history at the time, $40,076. Lee Hieronymus had attended many early wine shop meetings. Lee and his brother Ted, via their family foundation, joined us with a $25,000 star. I started believing we had captured lightning in a bottle because during this same time, longtime families in our community were stepping up with $10,000 star donations. The Masters family, Ted and Mike Fink, on behalf of their families, Andy and Danette Chance, my mom, my wife Diana, and I bought a $10,000 star. Michelle and Carol Collins became $10,000 donors, as did the Gaston Corporation on Richard Street. At a merchants meeting held upstairs at Bullwinkle's, John Foreman announced a $25,000 donation on behalf of Bullwinkle's. At a charity auction I held in Cincinnati, I had the chance to speak with a member of the Lyons family about the plaza. Shortly thereafter, I received word the Lyons family wanted a $10,000 star. Then word came that the Lyons family was increasing their pledge to $25,000. Then Leslie Lyons reached out to her fellow board members of the Miami Visual Arts Foundation that included Bob Bell, Jim Lenz, and Ray Shamrock. They chose to donate their entire dormant balance of $15,000 to the Plaza Theatre. Decades ago, I served on city council with Tom Young, who is now our state rep. We'd stayed in touch over the years. Tom invited me to a lunch. He had a client who had heard my unsuccessful dog and pony show pitch at the local Lions Club. I offered to buy. We met. Tom's guest orders prime rib. I had a cheeseburger. I start into my pitch, and Lauren looks across the table and tells me he'd like to donate $50,000. I didn't have a $50,000 level. No visible panic. I told Lauren that at the $50,000 level, he qualified for a sidewalk star and naming rights for either the lobby or the stage. You entered the plaza this evening, as you will forever, through the Wilson family lobby. And Tom donated $10,000 as well. Best results I ever had in my life from buying a meal. While Lauren Wilson was our largest original donor of any kind, another event touched my heart during that time and still resonates with me. Our smallest donor was 9 cents. To me, the 9 cent was very heartfelt I know it's kind of funny to think about it. I wish I knew who the young man was. I'd invited him here tonight. Jim Lynch. No. No. Let me tell you about this young man. We were back here in the park and we were getting ready to set off the fireworks, and we had a little booth set up and we were talking to people about the Plaza Theatre and what we were going to do, and we were showing some classic movies on DVD, and we had a pickle thing out there with a lid on it and a little poster. And I saw this young man, and I guarantee he didn't know where his next meal was coming from, but I saw him put a nickel and a penny in that bucket. And it was maybe 30, 45 minutes later, I saw him come by the booth. I was talking to some other people, didn't pay a lot of attention. And when we emptied the bucket, there was 9 cents in there. So not only did that young man give me every penny he had, he made 2 trips to do it. And that just, to me, tells me how this community has embraced this project. By now, our construction budget has grown to $350,000. Classic Stitch joined our ranks at $10,000. So did Think Patented. One of our newer businesses then, Bennett's, became star donors at $10,000. This project has tiers also. I encountered Dan Epperson in the Farmers and Merchants Bank lobby. Dan is a very creative and successful person. He purchased a $10,000 star as a surprise birthday present for his beloved wife, Louise. Tragically, way before her time and far too young, Louise passed. She never had the opportunity to see her star. I came up with the lunatic idea of calling the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce to discuss our sidewalk star concept. They informed me they franchise the use of stars for a fee. I expected to be told of a cost. I knew Miamisburg had been the star city for over 100 years, and Hollywood unveiled their sidewalk star project in 1958. I thanked them for their time, told them I was with the Plaza Theatre Committee in Miamisburg, Ohio, and our zip code was 45342. In my mind, I wanted them to sue us. I could just see the headlines. Big bad Hollywood Chamber sues small community over sidewalk star dispute. I was hoping the Network News, Time Magazine, maybe People Magazine would cover our dispute, and multiple rich benefactors would pity us with tons of money. Hollywood didn't take the bait. Under construction, with a self-imposed deadline to open during December, and now facing a final higher construction cost of $375,000, I came up with a $5,000 donor level. These $5,000 donors wouldn't get a sidewalk star, but they certainly deserved recognition by being included in our pre-show trailer and vinyl stars on our outer entryway, and they could pay lump sum or in 5 equal annual payments. Trust me, every donation mattered, and I was starting to worry folks would see me coming up the sidewalk and they'd cross the street to avoid me. Our $5,000 donors were the Hamburger Wagon, Tom and Lisa Chapman, who share our building with their Chapman Financial Services, Ron's Pizza and Tavern, Farmers and Merchants Bank, Rob and Carlene Sutman. Rob is a principal at EBS located in Austin Landing. The Nestor family, Mel and Sandy Rutherford, Miamisburg Vision Care, Doug Thompson and his American Health and Fitness Club, Jason Kim and Jerry Williams, owners of Flooring and Beyond. Many of these wonderful donors have now increased their original donations to $10,000 and even $25,000. Every construction project incurs costs related to your architect and general contractor who oversee a plethora of workmen and activities. As I'd walk through our construction, it was amazing to see various jobs being completed independent of each other, but all intertwined. Workmen would share how their parents or grandparents went on dates at the plaza. Many billed us for materials and donated their labor. This truly was a community project. The carpet installers spent overnight working in our lobby so this work would be completed for our opening night. Just amazing stuff. At the top were two amazing men who did a spectacular job. They both donated a vast majority of their fee in exchange for a sidewalk star. Our architect, current board member, and one of the original committee members, Dave Sweeney and his wife, Kara, are $15,000 donors. And with a $10,000 star, Miamisburg resident and owner of Miscellaneous Construction, our general contractor, Mitch Wheeler, and his wife, Sonia. I know you think I've recognized all our donors. Not so fast. As a child, Ron Campbell visited this building to enjoy the smells of leather goods, saddles, bridles, chaps. Over the last 8 years, I've seen Ron here often with his family enjoying films at the plaza. Even founding members often have partners. Ron's were in the Cincy area, but he kept after them until they agreed. And you Creative joined our ranks as $10,000 star donors. Robin McCall Fisher and her husband David live in the Miami County area. Robin and I met when she secured volunteers for the original Gala of Hope over a decade ago. Later, we worked together helping the Therapeutic Writing Institute raise funds. Robin and David started modestly as donors to the plaza, eventually becoming $25,000 star donors and a many-year film underwriter. Robin always ends our conversations with, "Let me know if there's anything you need at the plaza." Based on our early sidewalk star interest, David Sweeney left empty slots for future supporters. 4 empty spots for future $10,000 donors, 4 spots for $25,000 stars. Kettering Health, Miamisburg, bought our final $25,000 star 3 years ago. I'm grateful to share this area is totally sold out. If you have a star, would you please stand? Our sidewalk contains 34 stars and has generated $565,000 since our opening. There is an old adage, failure is an orphan, success has many parents. My sincere thank you to those that stood for being a Plaza parent. By the way, our stars were created at a quarry in Georgia and shipped to Bell Vault on South Main Street. 6 weeks after our grand opening on Christmas Day 2015, our roof sprang a leak. We didn't have any extra money, As a board, we decided to offer seat sponsorships for the outrageous sum of only $250. If that was too much money, blame Bonnie Nolan. Bonnie was our first board president. When the Plaza Theatre Association undertook this project, we realized we were dealing with a 96-year-old building with some aging parts. Recently, we've sprung a leak. We had hoped that our roof would last a few years, but that's not been the case. And we realize it's imperative that we protect these improvements and the state-of-the-art equipment that we've had installed in the Plaza Theatre. We need your help now. These forms are available at the concession stand from our staff. I thank you, our committee thanks you, the generations of families who will use this facility over the decades to come, thank you as well. Clint Morton came to our rescue. Joe Harrison took out a loan. We agreed to make the payments. Almost immediately, we started generating seat sales. Every year, we sold more seats, generating far more than the roof cost. A few years ago, we had sold all 300 spots on the plaque in our entry. The board asked, "What now?" We bought 2 additional plaques to mount new sponsorships. Tell me, who's matching nameplates to seats, right? Who's counting? Problem solved. In year 1, we expected to lose $50,000 per the projection created by Chris Fine based on 5 years of financials supplied to us by the Little Art Theater in Yellow Springs. Years before, I'd conducted a charity auction for the Little Art. They were happy to assist us. Our original final construction cost was $382,000, and we had generated $432,000. So we're good, right? Wrong. Being overachievers, we lost $60,000. This created our need to create external cash flows and my famous three-legged milk stool idea. I shared this with the board to offset operating losses and keep admission at $5. One would be an annual gala. I knew how to do these. 2 was film underwriting. My wife introduced me to Downton Abbey, and I borrowed there. The following program is brought to you by. This year, film underwriting generates $24,000. Number 3, I borrowed an idea from the Shriners in Detroit called a sportsman's raffle. We had 10 board members. I knew we needed a partner. I approached the Miamisburg Moose, who at the time had 3,400 members and a banquet area large enough to conduct the event. I attended a board meeting and pitched my idea. At the end, Wally Lipinski asked me, "Why does the Moose need the plaza?" I replied, "You don't. But here's the deal. I know how to do this, and you don't. If everyone agrees, I insist we agree to be partners for 3 years. By then, you will know how to do this. You won't need the plaza, and in fact, I'll sign the divorce papers now." They agreed. I designated Wally Lipinski our first event chair and made plans to actually visit Detroit and really learn how to create and conduct a sportsman's raffle. We partnered for 6 years, made money every year, splitting the proceeds 50-50, and the Moose continues to donate to the plaza. With operations, your donations, rentals, and our three-legged milk stool, we have balanced our books or shown a profit since year 3. In our first year, we only showed older and classic films. In year 2, we added new releases. We always had this ability. Studios either agree to do business with you or they don't. They don't differentiate between new releases or their older inventory. When we began, we had no money, no history. We clearly had no credit rating. Chris Fine suggested I use my Social Security number and credit rating with the studios. I never told Diana. Thank you, Di. Chris got us approved with all 8 American studios, one in Europe, and the Ian Fleming Family Trust, who own all the James Bond films. Thank you, Chris. After a year or so, our first executive director, Jack Burkmeyer, left for other projects. The Plaza was up and running. After an extensive search, the board chose Emily Smolenski, a Wright State Theater Arts grad with experience at the Victoria. We had over 60 applicants from as far away as Colorado. Clint handled this process. In August 2021, we received a $2,500 grant from CultureWorks. About the same time, our second executive director, Emily Smolenski, left the Plaza. So here we were. No executive director, a $2,500 grant, and no idea what to do. We elevated Plaza manager Chris Sedlak to executive director. Chris suggested a trio of top staffers. We agreed. With that $2,500, we came up with a century of cinema. It's a concept which mirrors Turner classic movies, if you think about it. The idea was to pick a theme, actor, actress, or director, create a pre-show narrative with pictures, posters, film clips, trivia stories, and show a film related to that evening's subject. We decided to offer this midweek on the first and third Wednesdays. Our first presentation was December 2021, Hollywood Bombshells. I did the first 12 months. We decided we'd always skip December because the holidays do pretty well for us. Along about September, a young man approached me after my Century of Cinema presentation and asked if he could do a presentation. It was Ron Campbell's son, Corey. He was a teenager. He told me he wanted to do Stanley Kubrick and show 2001: A Space Odyssey. And the idea of presenters from the general public was born. In 2023, we had 16 first-time presenters, and 3 gave 2 presentations. I'm off the hook. We've now opened our Century of Cinema series to high schoolers. In opening this series to schools, we needed to tape a presentation. In the summer of 2023, UD's Osher Lifelong Learning Center put the Century of Cinema on their summer curriculum at the Plaza on Tuesday afternoons. MVCC came to the Plaza to tape the June presentation on Barbra Streisand. UD chose Streisand, Ohio-born stars, and Clint Eastwood for their presentations. After the taping, I was asked if I'd be willing to retape Century of Cinema openings in the MVCC studios to be made into vignettes for their programming. I agreed. At this point, 18 programs have been taped by myself and board member Catherine Wright, who created a great presentation on The Godfather. Recently, DATV asked to also offer these Century of Cinema vignettes. Now the Plaza and Miamisburg is being promoted and broadcast on Spectrum, MVCC, and DATV into 4 counties. Montgomery, Warren, Clark, and Greene. DATV programming is streamed worldwide. On Saturday, March 9th, MVCC held a Century of Cinema Marathon from 8 to 10:30 p.m. Both outlets broadcast our vignettes weekly in prime time. Thank you, Mike. Plaza manager Johnny Catalano has agreed to oversee this series in what is now year 3. I'm off another hook. The Miamisburg Eagles have been the sole sponsor of this successful series since year 2, donating $5,000 annual, thanks to Jeff Nestor. Over the years, many men and women would reminisce to me about their youth and admission being 25 cents and dime candy. Here's the thing about the Plaza. Thanks to you, we don't have a corporate entity telling us what we can and can't do, so we do. On February 23rd, 2023, we offered our first 25-cent Saturday matinee, but no dime candy. Grandpa Joe's across the street brings us free candy for folks to pick up coming through the lobby. Last December, this fun event attracted 151 patrons. In February, 150 guests. You like the dog, don't you? With 288 seats, which is the largest seating capacity of any facility showing film in Montgomery County, a sellout doesn't cover the film cost. Our Miamisburg Moose covers the entire studio film rental. Once a quarter for a quarter drives our first run area chains crazy. They can't do it. We aren't just films. Over the years, we've had music shows, comedy shows, film festivals, world famous appearances, world film premieres, dance reviews. Chuck Lavelle, the keyboardist for the Allman Brothers, and the last 42 years, an upcoming British group called the Rolling Stones, graced our stage. No baby grand for this show. A 9-foot concert grand was delivered to our stage from Columbus. Chuck's appearance was in conjunction with the world premiere of Alan Farst's film Dayton Triangles, detailing the creation of the NFL and the first ever NFL game. Why the Plaza for this world premiere? All 14 points were scored by Miamisburg-born native sons, George Hoppy Kenderdine and Lou Paltrow. The premiere sold every seat. Thanks to Johnny Catalano, last October we hosted an in-person with author-director John Russo, who created the original zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead. Russo returned last month for our second annual Catalano Film Festival that attracts entries from Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Athens, Columbus, Cincinnati, and of course Dayton. Our music tribute shows draw significant audiences to enjoy multiple Elvis artists, bluegrass shows, bullwhip demonstrations, comedy shows, the Godfathers of Rock, a recent ELO sold-out tribute event, and for the kids, a live penguin from the Newport Aquarium. On May the 4th, our annual Star Wars tribute event draws nearly sold-out crowds and costumed characters from Cincinnati to Lima. Speaking of sold out, a recent February showing of a Nashville Wish featuring our area's Alexis Gomez attracted 267 patrons for a single Sunday afternoon showing. Frequently, we are visited by the Ohio Ghostbusters from Dayton, Cincinnati, and parts unknown. This brings us to the Berg's Ghost Tours. We make the tour. Our most famous spirit is Sheepskin, a homeless, nameless man who spent his final weeks during the mid-1960s residing in the Plaza cellar. A barbershop existed where Three Dips is now an ice cream shop. The barber had access to the empty plaza. He named this man Sheepskin and permitted him to use the basement area as shelter from the elements. Sheepskin went to his final reward in this room. A mattress was removed, but his chair was left, and the single light bulb left on. That bulb is burned for decades. If you move the chair, it will be returned to this spot under the light. Paranormal filmmakers visited the plaza as we were getting underway with construction. They detected 3 different areas with unusual readings. More than one of our managers and volunteers swear they hear voices when they are alone in the plaza. Over the last 18 months, thanks in large part to many of you here this evening, we have completed over 300,000 of capital improvements and paid cash. Though we didn't often need their resources, the city of Miamisburg has always had our back. An entirely new HVAC roof-mounted gas-fired system, oversized ductwork, and rafter reinforcing accounted for $190,000. Our speaker system and amplifiers were upgraded. We opened with 20-year-old donated speakers, subwoofer driven by 8 amplifiers from Cincinnati's Union Terminal renovation. Parts no longer existed. Our new speakers behind the screen are on 8-foot platforms aimed at the auditorium seats. 2 speakers ratted on the back walls. Our amplifier is a Dolby 7.1 theater system. Our subwoofer, sitting mid-stage, is about the size of a Honda Civic. That cost us $25,000. In December, we replaced our 8-year-old digital projector with a new Christie 4K digital laser projector. $81,753 plus shipping from California. In January, we turned on our new wraparound marquee at a cost of $30,000. We use this, as promised, to promote upcoming films and events, plus community events, 24/7, every day, in multiple colors. Our messages change every 10 seconds. Previously, we changed our marquee 1 letter at a time, in rain, snow, sleet, and heat, on a 10-foot step ladder with a concrete sidewalk to break our fall. It wasn't the safest thing we did. Thank you especially for these donations. The Dayton Area Chamber of Commerce runs a long-standing program called Leadership Dayton. Younger employees are chosen by many Dayton area companies to participate. About 40 are chosen annually. It's a year-long program. Each participant is expected to join a nonprofit and serve on their board. Miller Valentine chose Miamisburg native Jim Gilbert a few years ago. Jim is now vice president of the Plaza Board. The capital improvements I just described were overseen to completion by this young man. To call him a godsend is an understatement. Another godsend is Austin Eggers, the son of Associate Executive Director Marty Eggers. Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, Austin works figuring out how to make flying cars a reality. In his downtime, he advises us about projectors, servers, sound systems, all that highly technical stuff that all of us understand completely. Both these men finished describing something, and I'm like, what did he just say? This Plaza project has been blessed by the right people with the right skills showing up at the precise moment they were needing and adopting the Plaza. Thank you. Speaking of the right people, when we chose our third executive director and former Plaza manager, he suggested a trio at the top to oversee the growing Plaza Theatre. The board agreed. Our executive director is Chris Sedlak. Chris, please stand. He's up there. He is ably supported by Marty Eggers, who handles our rentals and arranges many of the stage shows we enjoy. In 2023, we had 152 private rentals. Marty, please stand. That is huge to helping us maintain a $5 admission. Melissa Katchenmeister rounds out our top management and handles our financials and social media. Melissa, where are you? Right back here in the back. All three are also Plaza managers, joined by other managers and no less than 20 very dedicated volunteers. We have far more on this volunteer list, but 15 to 20 bear the bulk of our volunteering. Please, all stand if you're with us. These folks make the Plaza function like a well-oiled machine. We love you. Thank you. I want to thank the media, the papers, both daily and weekly, our friends in radio and TV. Your support of this community project supplies public awareness we simply can't afford. From my time decades ago in radio and TV, I've always felt like part of your fraternity. If you are here, will you please stand? From the media. There were others here earlier. Thank you. We wouldn't be here now without the extraordinary support of the Harrison family. When I visited with Joe a decade ago, I told him for donations to be undeniably tax deductible without any IRS questions, the group needed to have control of the premises as long as the longest capital improvement. There are 30-year roofs. Joe gave us a 30-year lease for next to nothing. I shared with the board this needed to be the Joe Harrison Auditorium, as I mentioned before. It is. Will Rita and all members of the Harrison family stand to be recognized? From our inception, only 3 original committee members remain active, and Mark Morgan, who has created over 600 trailers and video on-screen items entirely free. Those three original citizen volunteers are myself, Clint Morton, and David Sweeney. Will Clint, David, and Mark, who's up in the balcony, please stand and remain standing. You too, Karen. Karen, she's waving at me. Will current board members now please join them in standing? Stand up, Clint, and all the current board members. Joining these individuals, you don't have to sit down yet, stand up. Joining these individuals will all former board members please stand. My personal thanks to each and every one of you. Over the years, the easy thing for us to have done often was simply to raise our admission fee. We haven't. When we opened, it was $5 per person, and today it's still $5. That says a lot about the effort and creativity needed and the absolute need for dedicated donors like each of you with us here right now. Thank you. If this was easy to do, every one of our suburban neighbors would have done this. They haven't. And the Berg is the envy of all of them. To paraphrase a 1968 eulogy, some people see things as they are and say, why? Most of us here dream things that weren't and ask ourselves, why not? Thanks to everyone here and the men and women I've worked and volunteered alongside over the last decade, our dream is a reality. We now have the historic Plaza Theatre and a wonderful downtown. A place for area residents, their families and friends to visit and enjoy a film or an event, now and hopefully for decades to come. Each of you helped make this dream come true. Exposure to the arts rounds out our lives. It's important to all of us. We do what we do so you can share with your children, grandchildren, family, and friends a place like the Plaza. Since opening on Christmas Day 2015 for films, events, private rentals, your historic Plaza Theatre has attracted no less than 132,348 visitors. Last year, this was 24,153 folks. In 22, 21,715 visitors. Miamisburg has 20,000 men, women, and children. We draw the equivalent of 100% of our population every year to shop, to dine, to visit the Plaza. Thank you for everything. And now, fittingly, the 100 greatest movie quotes of all time. Thank you.
We've all heard them, said them, and shouted them at our friend.
We interrupt this program for a special announcement, directly from Hollywood. The Academy of Motion Pictures has announced one last Oscar winner will be awarded tonight at the Plaza Theatre in Miamisburg, Ohio. Here to present the Oscar, original founding Plaza board members, Bonnie Nolan and Clint Morton.
Maybe you might want to turn off my sound.
Wow, what a surprise.
Yes.
Doug, we're sorry to interrupt your program, but we're extremely excited to hear about the Oscar, the only one of its kind, being awarded tonight. Wouldn't you all like to hear about it?
From the Academy of Motion Pictures to the Plaza Theatre, the Academy wishes to award one last Oscar this year, the Plaza Theatre Lifetime Achievement and Contribution Award.
And the nominations are, please watch up here.
Everybody's been telling us we have to check out the Plaza Theatre, so let's see what it's all about. And we can't come and talk about the Plaza Theatre without talking to the one and only Mr. Doug Sorrell.
Follow me. We're totally handicap accessible, so we'll use the ramp. Let's show you around. 292 seats, 4 wheelchair spots, 34-foot screen that goes out to 38-foot, full digital projection.
The Plaza Theatre wasn't always the gym that it is right now. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into making it what it is today.
This was a great volunteer-created community project. But it's been 6-7 years of joy bringing this thing from an empty pit with a leaky roof to a facility that over the last 5.5 years has attracted over 75,000 patrons. Well, Austin, we made it back to the concession area. Clint, why don't you share a little bit of the history of this place?
Sure, Doug. We opened in 1919, closed in 1968, and reopened Christmas Day 2015.
Great, and I understand there's a lot of help that you get behind the scenes as well.
Exactly. We could not run the Plaza Theatre without the help of our volunteers, and we're always looking for volunteers, so come join us.
Oh my gosh. If you want something to work in anywhere, in any town or any kind of charitable situation, Doug is just unstoppable. He is one of those people that has the imagination, he has the connections, but he also has the likability and the ability to get people to do what he wants them to do for the best reasons, because Doug has a way of cheerfully making you do what he wants you to do. I love that about him.
I just really think back to all the auctions I've gone to where Doug was the auctioneer, and he just knows how to work the crowd, and of course he wears some god-awful sports coat, but other than that, it's just fun to watch him do his thing and kind of know all of his tricks of the trade and how to stay hidden when somebody gets in a bidding war, because you know it's getting ready to get ugly.
Doug has a little bit of a footprint or an input in the Miamisburg Merchants Association. He helps out Rotary. He does presentations there. He's a proponent of the Baum Opera House. There's not a cause in Miamisburg that Doug doesn't try to embrace and help as much as he can with all the contacts that he has.
Most interesting thing about Doug Sorrell is his love of the community and what he does for different organizations. We've had organizations like SIXA, Therapeutic Writing Institute, the Color Guard all have their fundraisers here at Canopy Creek Farm, and Doug seems to always be here to be doing the auction part of it. He's volunteered his time to support those organizations as well as the community, and he makes that a high priority in his life.
Doug knows how to invoke an emotion about whatever charity function, whatever he's working on, the love and the excitement that he has, he is able to make you feel that as well.
Doug is very much involved in the Masons and in the Masonic orders. It started here in the Lodge of a Minerva 98, and he's an Antioch temple in Dayton, and he was the illustrious up there. And in the last couple of years, they made him an honorary 33-degree Mason because of all of his work in the community and in helping others. He also does auctions for nonprofits, and he's done that for years. And he's just a wonderful person that has done a lot for this community and for the area of Dayton.
What I really love about Doug, and I mean love, is that Doug comes from the heart. Everything he does comes from the heart. And you see that all over Miamisburg. But particularly my fondest memory of Doug is just sitting down and having coffee. He was always inquisitive about my career, about my family, and it was genuine. He's a good old cowboy, and he has a heart of gold through and through. And I really appreciate his friendship, and I appreciate this night that we get to celebrate Doug because he deserves it.
There are a lot of people to thank for the resurrection of the Plaza Theater, but Doug has been the person out there from day one raising money to get that to happen. Of course, we all know that's what he specializes in. And then getting his point across. He has a way of making you believe in the cause and making you understand the cause and being willing to support it.
It was the right time, the right place. Everything fell into place, and Doug was the leader of it. He's the one that cracked the whip, got everything going, and stayed on top of it, and has stayed on top of it as the Plaza Theater is today.
He was able to source equipment and raise the money to really make sure this thing got off the ground and happened, and to do it right, because if you don't do it right, you might as well not do it at all, and Doug knows how to do it right.
People financially helping him. He had an architect. He had all kinds of important people, lighting people, construction people, and they all came together to put a beautiful project that is the Plaza today.
Without Doug Sorrell, we wouldn't really have a Plaza Theater. I mean, he put the efforts together to form a committee to review it. But what he brought to the party was his fundraising and contacts that made really all the difference. We wouldn't have been able to raise the money for the Plaza Theater if not for Doug Sorrell.
Doug is a man of passion and conviction, and when he decides to get something done, he's not going to stop until it gets done. So him rallying the troops and keeping everybody focused was absolutely pivotal in the success of having a fundraising efforts to make this all happen.
Miamisburg downtown has a different feel now. It's energized, it's revitalized, and they owe that to Doug. They definitely owe that to Doug. With the inception and the addition of the Plaza, all of the different businesses, I think Doug had a little bit of hand in all of that. And Miamisburg is a different place today than it was 30 years ago because of him.
I saw in a recent publication that Doug was named the Grand Marshal for the 2024 Springfest Parade, and as you look at that article, it just really shows you just how much Doug has given back to not only Miamisburg, but also nationally.
I really believe if it wasn't for Doug's involvement, I just don't feel like the funds would have been there to do it. The Plaza exists because of Doug Sorrell, so many others, but he was the key driving factor in it.
Well, it looks like there's only one nominee. So let's see whose name is inside this envelope. And the Oscar goes to Doug Sorrell.
Oh my God! Would you please come up and accept this small token of our appreciation?
Wow.
It's heavy.
Jesus, that thing's heavy.
All right, Speech time.
We want to hear a few words from Doug right now, right?
Clint just leaned over and said, speech time. Well, you know I'm not good at this. Di, will you let your sister do the taping? Come here. "35.5 years ago, this lovely lady said, I do, and I hope I have, though the truth is I probably haven't." But because of Di, I may be able to do what it is that I've done on behalf of this community. And I'm totally surprised.
That doesn't happen very often.
No, I don't get surprised. But thank you. Thank you. Will you show the 100 greatest movie quotes now? Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm humbled by this. I truly am. Thank you.